morning, beauties. Hello. Hey. Good morning. How are you? Good girl, Jippy. Oh, he's trying to eat you. Yeah. Hello. Hey. You're all right. Yeah. You're okay. Yeah. Come on then. See you later, girls. See you later. See you later. Come on then. Yeah. Good morning. It's a bit of a foggy morning this morning. It's mainly lifted now, but it's been really foggy. The fog got me thinking about the things that fog our minds and prevent us from seeing clearly. One of the fogs is suffering. As human beings, we all experience suffering. But often we suffer more than we need to. The thing is that pain, physical and mental, is part of life. But the degree to which we suffer from it, that can be lessened. One of the really effective ways to reduce suffering is to understand its root cause. The Yoga Sutras say that there are 5 root causes of suffering. And I've considered them quite deeply, and they really make a lot of sense to me. So I'd like to share them with you now. Let me know what you think. They're called the Kleshas. So the first klesha is often translated as ignorance, but I think it's better to say it is a lack of wisdom. It is being mistaken about the nature of reality. We need to understand that we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. I see the world very differently to Gypsy. The fact that I say see the world says everything. Gypsy would say smell the world. And we only see a very limited amount of what is out there. And we see it from a perspective, from a lens of our own biases. Biases as a species, the things that helped us to survive are the things that we notice in the world, but there's many other things we don't notice. But also our personal biases as well. Our temperament, our experiences, very much colour how we see the world. And sometimes the way that we're perceiving it is not very useful to us, or is actually a hindrance to us. The thing is, we can't entirely rid ourselves of these biases. We wouldn't want to either, because, a lot of them do help us to survive. We need to try to be able to recognize where we have biases that are not helpful to us. So we need to be aware, step back, and notice the things that colour our perception. The second klesha is egoism, which means that we over-identify with our small selves. If I ask you, who are you? That's a really difficult question. I'm Sally. What does that mean? I live in Norfolk. Something about my physical location right now, it's not me. I'm short. Again, it's not me. It doesn't say anything about me, who I am. We can really over-identify with these ideas of ourselves. I think that's quite a problem at the moment in our obsession with labels. I have a diagnosis of ADHD, I have a diagnosis of autism, I have a diagnosis of ME, and I choose to say that I have a diagnosis of because having that diagnosis has been helpful for me, but I am not those things. So who am I then? This is the purpose of meditation and dropping into a sense of pure awareness. Now, obviously, we can't go around life completely in this sense of pure awareness. There's a car coming. But still, when we're going about everyday life, we can do so from this space of awareness, watching our thoughts, watching what we're doing, not becoming enmeshed in it. Now, of course, dropping into this awareness is not easy until it is easy. Once you're able to do it, it is easy. It takes a lot of practice to be able to get there in our modern world, I think. But yes, dropping into that awareness, identifying with that awareness rather than our ego is a way of alleviating suffering. Oh, it's a cold wind. The third klesha is attachment. It can be to material things, which is quite clearly a problem in our modern world. We place way too much value in material things and in thinking that they will make us happy. But it can also be attachment to outcomes, so expectations that you have of the way that things will turn out. The thing is, we really want certainty in an uncertain world. And I think our expectation of certainty has greatly increased with advances in technology and science, because it gives us the illusion that there is certainty, that we can predict the world. And of course, to an extent, we can predict the world. Otherwise, we couldn't survive. But we can predict a lot less than we think. So when we think that we have certainty and we then attach our happiness to things turning out in the way that we expect them to, then we suffer when they don't. And I think with regard to material attachment, I think we all know that when we buy things in the hope that they are going to make us happy, that happiness is really short-lived, and you can just end up buying more and more things and they're not going to make you happy, you know? So yeah, the third klesha is attachment. The fourth klesha is aversion. We have a dislike for something and we try to push it away. When we have a strong feeling of aversion against things we don't want to experience, that in itself causes suffering. Pain is actually very subjective. Of course, there can be physical pain in the body, like tissue damage. But the way we experience that pain can vary a lot from person to person and depending upon our mood. So actually, a big part of the suffering caused by pain is aversion to that pain. There's a lot of talk about triggers, you know. today. And I'm not saying that anybody should put themselves in situations that make them really uncomfortable. But when we avoid our triggers all the time, we actually increase our suffering. Things are always better faced head on with a willingness to approach, rather than getting stuck in a situation where we have no choice but to face it. That feels much worse. I know, I've been there so many times. So yeah, that is the fourth klesha, aversion. The fifth klesha is a biggie. It's a fear of death, a fear of change, a fear of things ending. And to be honest, I think that fear is at the root of most fears. It's a fear of death disguised as something else. It's not unique to us. All animals, I think, have a fear of death, but only when they are immediately faced with it. We're the only ones that can think about it. She doesn't know she's going to die. Only we know that we're going to die. What predicament we find ourselves in. We know we're going to die, but we don't know when. No idea. Could be today, could be in 30 years' time. I have no idea. And I don't think that a fear of death is something we can ever completely rid ourselves of, because it is innate in us. But we can learn to loosen its grip. I think that in our society, we are far too scared of talking about death. We are all going to die. That is reality, and we don't have much contact with death today. In other societies and at other times in our society, death was just a part of life. Now it's something that we've shut away, and I think that only increases our fear of death if we don't talk about it, if we don't accept it as part of life and separate ourselves from our ego's fear of being discontinued. It is something that we can learn to live with and live well with. So yeah, the fifth klesha is a fear of death. And it can also be like a fear of change, you know, of again, that certainty in an uncertain world. We want things to be predictable and things not to change unless we change them. And not having control of that is a cause of suffering. I found it really helpful to make a practice of every time I suffer, I feel that I'm suffering, I feel that suffering is upon me. I try to identify the root cause of that suffering, and that enables me to step back from it, and it doesn't take the pain away. It changes how I view the pain. It lessens the degree to which I suffer, to be able to step back from it, to identify what is at the root of that suffering. Is it a lack of wisdom, a kind of mismatch between your perception and reality? Is it identifying too deeply with your small self? Is it being too attached to something or an outcome? Is it an aversion to something? Or is it that really deep core fear of death, of change? I find it really helpful to do that. Let me know what you think about these 5 causes of suffering. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.